role of the labs: inspire, enable innovation to drive business growth within the Ogilvy Group and for our clients. And we do that with the semesters of learning. And what semesters of learning are something that I made up myself, because I had a kind of a view about 7 years ago that the world wasn't going to stay just doing TV and print, and there was all these other things happening. And so I started to get really excited and read all these different, things that were happening, and I'd email out to everyone, and I kind of got emails back saying, stop spamming me, which actually was quite a good lesson, because it meant that I shouldn't just presume that everyone is thinking like I am. So the semesters of learning came about where I would do a semester on, say, streaming, and then I will learn everything I can about streaming, and then I'll see 10 to 15 different streaming companies every other week. I'm building partnerships, so I'm looking out for who's good, bad, indifferent, and have an understanding of the landscape. And then I would find a brand where streaming could fix a problem. So that happened to be Ford at the time, and it was, in the end, we went to 22,000 desktops in 19 countries in 5 different languages. And then I would go to a streaming media conference, because all conferences are very siloed. It would be very interesting if you put a gaming person at a streaming conference and just see, what happens. And that's human nature. That's because people like to gather around people that they know doing the things they know. But actually, the learning comes from moving yourself into an area that's very uncomfortable. And it's very hard work to just kind of plonk yourself there as the only ad person at a streaming media conference, probably the only girl as well. And that at the conference, I would then showcase what was the job, why streaming was the solution, who I partnered up with, and how we went about implementing it, bearing in mind that Ogilvy have a TV department and a print department. We don't have a streaming department, or a gaming department, or a mobile department, or all of those different things. So that's a semester done and dusted, and I've done semesters on all of those other things: gaming, mobile, IPTV, social networking, virtual worlds, 3D, augmented reality, ARG. So I always say I know enough to be dangerous about everything, but know the right people to drill down to, the right partners, the collaboration to then get stuff done. What I have is I run the lab with these kind of 5 different pillars. When the lab was first kind of discussed about doing it across 6 countries, it was said, okay, fine, we're going to do this, but there's no money. So on my way home, I phoned up Rory and I said, Rory, you're such a good speaker. Does anyone ever pay for you to speak? And he said, oh, no. I said, would you mind if you're my first revenue stream? So I'll act as your agent, so every time you speak, I will then get money in, and that will be my R&D fund. So this is how I start to think about, instead of moaning about all the problems, and just getting a little fun, because Ogilvy aren't going to pay for it, but I want to do it, and everyone needs to move forward. So you need to start to look at different revenue streams. Be a little bit entrepreneurial. Forget about the fact that you are based everything on retainer. So we do kind of client workshops and consultancies, because obviously it's good for clients to have an understanding of what is going on in that marketplace, and they're all still just doing their day jobs. Lots of internal education, so the semesters of learning are now group-wide. So we've just come out of a mobile semester. The next semester that we're now in across the group with regular lab lunches, etc., is product marketing in the 21st century. Huge partners database, and client inspiration, and something called Lab in a Box. I'm going to give examples of all of these things. And then we do that. It's not a separate P&L. I didn't want it to be a separate P&L. It is an R&D facility, and it is hand-holding. And we spread the news with lab rats across the group. And that's people just in their everyday jobs who have a desire to move forward and physically get engaged in these different areas. And they're lab rats across all the groups. So that's then started taking away those silos. So a lab rat in Ogilvy Neo Media, who's working with a lab rat in Ogilvy Health World or Ogilvy Action, it means they can start to cross-pollinate and kind of keep business within as well. Innovation is everyone's responsibility, as I just explained. It is not a department where people can say, oh, digital, digital, and hand it over. I am making them change and do things that they feel very uncomfortable doing. And I'll explain how I've done that in a minute.